Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Iowa. Nice. What's up, Iowa? Okay, I cannot breathe in this onesie. I'm wearing a onesie. I can barely move, okay? But my kids insisted that I wore feety pajamas because we have a snow day today, even though it's sunny out, but whatever. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Coffee Talk. I am asking very specifically that you bring your most open mind to receiving this message. I cannot have this conversation with you if you do not take a deep breath and say, okay, whatever Jamie is about to say, she's warning me, may make me feel defensive. So I'm going to promise her that I will at least listen with my most open mind. If you are in a space where you know you feel combative or you're grumpy, you probably need this message the most, but I do not think you will receive it well. So, to that I say, if you are not in a space to receive this message, please hang up and try your call again later. Okay? Okay. I'm a little nervous for this one, but I really want you to just listen to me. Okay? Please. I've never been more serious ever in approaching a topic. Okay. There was an award show last year where an actress by the name of Issa Rae, they said, "Who are you rooting for tonight?" And her response was, "I'm rooting for everybody black." And there was outrage in the white community. It was, she's racist, she's rooting against white people, she's super racist. If a white person said that, if a white person blah, blah, blah. Now, I get it. I totally get it. From both sides. But this message is not about race. So, shh. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. Please, I'm begging you. Just listen. Okay? So often we approach situations where we believe, I'm sweating so bad, in 2 seconds I'm about to be naked, and then this message is going to be a lot easier to receive. So often when somebody says they are rooting for someone or championing something that isn't us, we immediately feel like it means they are rooting against us. That one small change in our thinking can literally set us free from feeling like the victim all the time. People would say to me, here, listen to these examples, okay? People would say to me, your girlfriend, whatever, is so attractive. She's so pretty. And inside, I would say, oh yeah, she's beautiful. Isn't she beautiful? But inside, I would feel like, oh, you don't think I'm pretty? You think my friend is pretty, but you don't think I'm pretty? I used to think the world was out to get me. I used to think that I was the victim all the time because the way my mind worked was, if somebody was for something else, for someone else, for somebody else's work, for somebody else's beauty, they had to be against mine. It was not until I grew up and really allowed myself to mature, that I started to realize that because somebody is rooting for something, it does not necessarily mean they are rooting against someone else. Choosing to believe that somebody is against you is a choice. It's a mindset. You can literally set yourself free, and I know because I did it. I literally did it. I went through life believing. I used to be the person that would hear, and again, this is an example. Don't harp on the example. I used to be the person who would go through hearing a black actress, Issa Rae, say, I'm rooting for everybody black, and believe that that energy must mean she is rooting against everybody white. She must be sitting in that audience just rooting against white people. It was not until I changed my thought process, because I was so sick and tired of being a victim all the time and believing everybody in the world was against me, that I started to realize that somebody like Issa Rae could literally just be in the audience championing black work and not being against the white work. There's a difference. Do you see the difference? It is okay to cheer for yourself, or it is okay for somebody next to you to be cheering for someone else. It does not mean they are against you and they are against what you are doing. I was the queen of believing that if somebody was excited for someone else, they didn't see my contribution. They didn't see my effort, right? How could you be excited about her work? Why aren't you looking at mine? If you're excited about hers, you must not be looking at mine, right? No, not at all. The truth is that somebody can be excited for someone else and still be excited for you. Somebody can see beauty in someone else and still see the beauty in you. Yes, Chachi, it's not always about us. Leah Marie, don't harp on the example. This is not about race. It's an example of my mindset. It's a mindset. Don't harp on the example. I know there are going to be people hearing this who want to make it about race. They're going to go, oh, she just loves black people. She hates white people. No. This is a mindset thing. It is not at all about race. Turn it to beauty. Take it away from race if that makes you uncomfortable, and turn it to beauty. So often, people would say to me, I'm telling you, people would say to me, your girlfriend is so pretty. And I would receive that as they think she's pretty and not me. They don't think I'm pretty. That's not what that means. If I call out one person on Coffee Talk, if I say, hey, Julie Burke, good morning to you, and Michelle Berger right underneath her goes, oh, she never sees me. She always sees that girl. It's like we see, it is our mindset in how we receive the celebration of others. We see it as a direct competition with a celebration of us. It was when I changed that mindset that I stopped being a victim to every situation. I was literally a victim all the time. Anytime somebody celebrated the work of someone else, they didn't see my work. Anytime they celebrated the beauty in someone else, they must not have seen my beauty. Anytime somebody was rooting for, and I'm not talking about like, I'm rooting for the Giants, so I must be rooting against the Eagles. That's different. That you go into that mindset for competition. It's not the same thing. I'm talking about the human connection. Jenna Jones, thank you for being honest. I was so guilty of the victim mentality. Anytime somebody celebrated anything that wasn't me, they must have been against me. They had to have been against me. It couldn't just be that for that moment they were celebrating this, and at some point they would get to celebrating me too. I believed if they weren't celebrating me all the time, they must have been against me. That is not what that means. When you grow up, you realize you got to pack your shit and get out of the victimhood and moving on up to the east side, to the deluxe apartment in the sky. And realize, yes, Nicole, it absolutely is a result of low self-esteem. But I was not going to admit that. I wasn't clapping for everybody. Listen, it is okay occasionally to move back to the victimhood for a minute and be like, man, I'm pity party for one. Just don't stay there. Don't go through life with that mentality that if someone is championing or cheering or rooting for somebody, they must be rooting against you. That is not what that means. And I say this to you because I literally set myself free from the victim mentality. It was draining me. It was destroying friendships. I remember literally having a girlfriend when I was 22 who said to me, Jay, we were getting ready to go out. And she said, listen to me. It is getting to the point where I walk on eggshells around you. Because if anyone compliments my outfit or tells me how good I look, you come in with some sarcastic comment about how maybe I need to eat a cheeseburger, maybe I'm blah, blah, blah. It was because the victim mentality had taken over my mind. I could not allow anyone to celebrate anybody else around me because if they weren't celebrating me, they must have been against me, and I couldn't handle that. I could not handle that. And if you are listening to this message today and your heart is open to receive it, then this message was intended for you. And don't feel bad about that because that's why we're here. And let me tell you what I want you to feel good about. I want you to feel good about the fact that there were 100 people, 100 more people listening to this message and heard me mention race and logged off because they believed that I was going to be championing black people and not white people. And they weren't here for it because they were too close-minded to receive this message. It wasn't about race at all. It's about victim mentality, and it goes both ways. This is about keeping yourself centered and believing that when it is your time to be celebrated, you will be celebrated. And the celebration of someone else does not mean that people are rooting against you. It cannot be about us all the time. That is why I felt it on my heart to share this with you today, because I lived in that victim mentality, y'all, for a decade. 10 years. I lived 10 years. I lived in a space believing that if you were not championing me, you must have been rooting against me. And that is just not true. Set yourself free from the victim mentality. Hear the message. Really just let it, just sit on it for a little while. This is a hard one to get over. It took me a long time to get over it. I can literally remember standing in a situation on Park Avenue when I was working for MCI WorldCom and listening to my boss, who was supposed to be my boss and my champion, celebrating somebody else's efforts in a meeting and having to talk myself through it, going, just because he's calling her out and championing her, just because he's rooting for her right now, does not mean he values you any less. I was talking myself through it like a lunatic. Okay? I was literally Nancy, that's how you have to change. You have to literally talk yourself through it. I was in that room. I'll never forget it, going, he still sees your value. He still thinks you're great. Your day will come. The next meeting, it could be you. You have to let him champion other people. It cannot be all about you, Jamie. I literally had to talk myself through it. I'm not kidding you. I was like talking to myself like a crazy person. And now I'm on the other side of it, and it is really important to me. I have to do this with my daughter. I have to do this with Olivia a lot. Whenever I say, Charlie, you did so good, baby, Olivia goes, what about me? And I say, Olivia, just because I'm celebrating Charlie does not mean I don't see your efforts, baby. It is okay to let other people be celebrated and still feel confident about your contribution. Olivia and I are going to have to we're going to have to work on this, okay? And that's okay. And that's okay. The other thing is, champion other people. It really does help to celebrate the contribution of other people. It really does help to say, listen, I think it's great that so-and-so did whatever. Use your light to shine on other people, and you will see that it does get easier. It really, really does. I want to thank you so much for everybody who made it to the end of this coffee talk. This was a hard one. I asked you to come in with an open mind, and 754 of you did it. And I thank you, and I appreciate you. And if you are brave enough to even share the message, that's even cooler. Because once we stop listening to each other, we stop growing, we stop learning. The message may not be for your heart, but it may be for somebody else who needs it. And Coffee Talk, like I say, every day is not always going to be for just you. But I needed desperately this message when I was younger, because I hated everybody. If it wasn't about me, I was drinking the haterade all day, every day. I was president of the Hater Nation. Okay? I was the Hater Nation fan club. Hold on one second. I know somebody else was in the Hater Nation with me. It wasn't just me. All right. I love you guys so much today. I love all of you equally. Exactly the same amount. You see how that works? Yes, Willie. Absolutely. Joelle, I love you. I love all of you. Katie, I appreciate you so much. I got to get out of this onesie, guys. I'm about to burst into actual flames. Please share this video, if not just to piss somebody off, okay? I love you guys. There's a share button right there. Click share. I love you so much. Have a great, great day.